Hello, hello. This is Anna Imagination with the Healing Garden. And it's Friday. I'm kind of taking a lax day. It's 2:38 and I'm making my first video because I needed to digest. I had a lot. Oh my God. So we did Dungeons and Dragons last night and I loved walking. You know what? I'm going to do this from now on. I'm going to okay, so there was the game. Let's reflect on this. What did we learn, ladies and gentlemen? And I've just been decompressing all day. That's really what it's been doing, is just a massive amount of decompressing and trying to put things in perspective. And then I had this massive logical clarification that just came in last night / this morning. And I finally was able to articulate right down to the detail exactly the problem. So mood swings. Let's talk about mood swings. Mood swings are bullshit. They don't exist. Mood swings, bipolar, all that bullshit doesn't exist. I'm going to explain to you the logic of the brain. This is gorgeous. When you have a subconscious mind, if you have a purified perspective, and that's really it. If you have a purified perspective, then you have X. That is your purified perspective. That is all of you balanced and beautifully aligned. But when someone comes in and gives you inconsistent data so that you think it's X, but they behave like Y, that's going to give you contradicting data. That's cognitive dissonance. That is going to create an offshoot of a perspective called an invasive perspective. So now your brain is going, which situation are we dealing with? That's really important. Which situation are we dealing with? Are we dealing with X or are we dealing with Y? This is where the emotion confusion occurs. Literally, this is where confusion is then formed, and we are given the emotion confusion, and we are supposed to take the emotion confusion and go, look at that. I have contradicting emotions. I have contradicting logic. My subconscious mind doesn't know which invasive perspective to follow or which perspective is mine. Therefore, we need to locate the inconsistency that's creating the cognitive dissonance so I can purify my perspective and return my behavior to X. But we aren't taught that. So instead, we have toggling mood swings between X and Y. Now, you might sit down and talk to a person about why, and if they're confused, then they will something like, I don't understand, and they will say something that contradicts X and Y. Y is the behavior, Z is what they say, and X is how they actually feel. Got this? X is how they feel, Y is the behavior, Z is what they say. Gotta love the subconscious mind. So now your subconscious mind takes all of that information. You've got X, you've got Y, and now you've got scenario Z. And your subconscious mind does not know which of these scenarios is the right one. So the subconscious mind tries to do all three at the same time. And it will toggle. It will keep toggling. So you'll have 3 different personalities now, not personalities, behaviors or moods, because the subconscious mind has got 3 different programs running inside of it. Your purified perspective, X, Y, based on what that person behaves, and Z, what that person is saying to you, which contradicts. So your subconscious mind is now jumping between all 3 of these perspectives, 2 of which are invasive perspectives. And we have no idea what's going on. Now, this is the fun part. Your partner then receives this data. Wow, X, Y, and Z, they have unpredictability. They aren't making sense. So now they will try and toggle it and say, well, they will then say Z because they're scared. Or they will behave like Y, reinforcing it. They might even say D. So now you've got another, and this is how it bounces off of each other. What you need to do to solve this is communication, literally. This is where communication, when you hear, you need to communicate with your partner. What the fuck does that mean, right? What the fuck does that mean? This is what it means. What it means is you need to identify X, identify Y, identify Z, and in some cases, identify D, and then sit down and explain, look, I have got data that's inconsistently going into my brain, and now my computer, subconscious mind, doesn't know which of these programs is the right one to follow. So I need to clarify which one of these programs is the right one to follow. By the way, the answer is always X. Purified perspective is the right answer. But you can't get to purified X if you have behavior Y and Z and D interfering with the actual perspective. You no longer have a purified perspective. What you now have are invasive perspectives because you have perspectives that have invaded your perspective. So now your subconscious mind doesn't know which programming is the correct one. Now, on the outside, this comes off as bipolar, mood swings, borderline in some cases. None of these are the case. None of these are the case. What's really happening is your subconscious mind is confused and it doesn't know which program to follow. And it's got 3 to 4 different programs inside of it trying to figure out which one is the right one. Now, let's add abuse on top of that, which now adds fear into the equation. So you associate the abuse with danger, and now you're going to have another invasive perspective to keep you safe. Throw in there the rule, it's not safe to speak, you're not going to communicate, which means X, Y, Z, and D are just going to keep getting worse. You're going to be too afraid to talk. You're going to have total system failure set down. The abuse and the fear is going to continue worsening your situation. And you're going to create, well, your subconscious mind is going to create more behavioral defenses to derail you, to get you into a behavior that it requires for you to behave to keep you safe. And that's going to contribute to their behavior, which is abusive, and you're in this cycle. And the cycle continues. And the whole problem is you have an impurified perspective. At the end of the day, you need to clear out your perspective. You need to define X, Y, Z, and D. And in order to do that, you need a psychologically safe place to pull this off. You need to communicate with your partner. But if your partner is abusive, you got to go. Like, you just get out of there, because now you're looking at a situation where you will never be psychologically safe to communicate to your partner what the situation is. So they will just think that your mood swings are insanity or you're crazy. And that's not the case at all. It's very logical. Oh my God, is it so fucking logical if you understand how the subconscious mind works? So that's how I figured all of this shit out this morning. That's what I was working on. And this is exactly what's going on with my partner and I right now, except there's no abuse. It's just his fear response, his behavior, what he says, and how he actually feels. And they're all 3 toggling each other, which is causing me to, like, which one of these am I dealing with? So it's a whole mess. So I finally figured all these words out. And I'm like, oh, there are those words. It's a logical flow chart. Oh, I love flow charts. So I got this logical flow chart out. And I just needed this morning to think. I really just needed to take the time to think. And the more all of this is sorting out, and it's weird because it's uncomfortable. It is uncomfortable and it's pushing through, and it's like, life is hard, isn't it? Life is so fucking hard. So fear. And the more I work out that, it's weird because there's like this umbrella of just things making sense and things calming down and things logically sorting themselves. And this was one of them. The whole logic loop of what's going on inside of our heads, that's all clearing out now. And I'm going, oh, I understand my relationship now. I understand it now. And because I understand it, the pain is gone now. That's a big deal. There's final understanding. Once you understand something, oh, understanding. You know, we don't talk about this. We use words like cognitive dissonance, which is actually never talked about. But human beings are actually so logical that illogic hurts us. We don't know that, but it does. Logic feels good to a human being. And when something is not logical, we are not okay. And that's something that we don't know. When something is illogical, when we fail to understand it, we are in some serious fucking pain. That's what heartbreak is. Heartbreak is a lack of understanding. Abuse is a lack of understanding. It's not the abuse that hurts. It's the not comprehending. It's the lies that hurts. It's the illogic. It's the lack of understanding that hurts. And it's this extraordinary concept of just getting things into perspective. And then I had this massive shift with my job and with my business yesterday also, where I was breaking down the perspective, the psychology of business. And it was like, wow, I've got this massive clarity now with what I want, what I love versus what I want to do and what my medium is, understanding and defining my medium. And then asking the question, what do I create? Oh my God, such a big question. So as this, what do I create? As that sank into perspective. And then there's fear of creation. Now that's fun because I feel that now. This is a new emotion, fear of creation. I'm terrified that I don't know how to create what I set out to do. I'm afraid of that. I'm not afraid of failure. I'm afraid of not knowing how to create what it is I want to create. Yeah, I need to talk about that later on my podcast. So I've got this logic loop with my relationship logic loop, and that's what I'm going to call it, relationship logic loops. And then I have this sudden comprehension of, oh, I understand my partner now. He understands me. And that's it, is I've been trying to help him understand me. And we haven't been connecting because he doesn't understand me. So he just looks at me as, oh, she's unpredictable. She's illogical. No, I'm not. I'm highly logical. I'm so logical that this is the scenario that we're dealing with. This is what we've been dealing with since day one. And this is how it's being read. This is where I'm coming from. Please understand me. Because through understanding, we connect. Isn't that interesting? We connect through understanding. But we have trauma, pain, and abuse through misunderstanding. Fascinating, isn't it? That understanding is the keystone to mental health. Fascinating, isn't it? So I have this whole median with my job. I have this thing sorted out suddenly with my relationship. And I don't know why, but something in my head keeps saying, Anna, they're connected. They're connected. And I'm like, why are they connected? Why is my career connected to my relationship? There is a parallel common factor between the two of them, and I can't figure it out. Ooh, this is insane logic. This is something else. And it's out of my reach yet. And I'm going to figure it out. And it's driving me crazy because I'm like, they're connected. They're connected. There is a psychological connection between your relationship and your job. There is one underlying key pin so that once I figure out what it is that is the keystone that is holding those two things together, then boom, there it is. Boom, I'll be able to figure it out. And I just can't figure it out yet. So I have this relationship, I have career. And then through the concept of what do I create, that's where you have the money. That's it right there. So I've got my podcast. I've got my YouTube channel. I've got my gaming channel now. Woohoo! And I'm going, that's not going to bring me money. And that's okay. I have my public speaking. That will bring me money. That will bring me money. I need to get more on stage. I have my books. That will bring me money. And I realized, no, Facebook is not going to make me money. I need to spend less time with that. My podcast, my YouTube, no, this is for me. This is for me so I can nurture my public speaking and my books. But yeah, it's my public speaking and my books. That's it right there. Yeah. And then there's my classes. That's it. I've got 2 classes. That's it. I feel really good about that. I have 2 classes in which I'm available. I feel good about that. Being able to identify that and say, I have 2 classes. It's like I'm a philosopher at a college and I can say, look, I've got 2 classes. You can do the membership thing where it's an annual membership or a monthly membership, or you can do the full, let's sit down and just powerhouse through triadic healing and just get all of this out of the way. There you go. Those are your options. Yeah, it feels really good. It feels really fucking good. I'm gonna add another one. I'm definitely gonna add the business side of triadic healing. Yeah, and that's gonna be, yeah, I know how I'm gonna do this. I know how I'm gonna do this. I feel solid. Oh my God, do I feel so solid? And it's coming in clearer more and more. My purpose, where I'm supposed to go. I see me writing books now. I can write books again. Just it's like this massive, it's all clicking here, clicking here. It's like I've got these 4 different pillars: my business, my relationship, my creativity, and my healing. And now that my healing's out of the way, these 3 things are just evolving and clicking, and they're coming together under this pinpointed thing. And I'm just going, what's the keystone? And I wish I could figure it out. It's like the skills that I'm using for my relationship are the same skills that I'm using for my business. They're the same skills. Let's do this. They're the same skills. Why are they the same skills? What am I doing here? Because there's something about relationships and something about business that's parallel, which is why they're so interconnected, which is why if you're having a bad day at work, your relationship suffers. Have you ever noticed? And when your relationship suffers, it affects work. Why are they connected? What is going on? There is something there. Of all the studies I've done, every person has it. I had a bad day at work, so I lashed it at my spouse. I had a bad day with my spouse, so I took it to work. And then they say things like, leave it at home. But you can have a bad moment with your children and it not affect this. What is going on with the business and the career and the relationship? Why are those things? What is it? Creativity, 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 relativity, relativity. Oh, there it is. Give me a minute. Give me a minute. It means that relativity, because your relative is your spouse. Basically, when you are a child, your parents are supposed to be your relative minor. So you are you, but you require relativity to understand who you are. So you have 2 parts to your identity. You have you and you have your relative. And when you grow up and you realize how psychotic your parents are, you actually are switching out your relative for somebody to supplant, which is your partner. So it's really your relative versus you. So you know who you are. And your creativity. There's the triad. There's the triad. So you have your relativity, which is related to your creativity. Interesting. Which is part of your identity. And when your relativity is at risk or compromised, when your relative is compromised, your creativity suffers. If your creativity is compromised, isn't this fascinating? Why? If your creativity is compromised, your relativity suffers. Interesting. Why? Why are creativity and relativity related? Oh, this just, I opened a nest and I'm going, what's inside? All right. Creativity and relativity. Oh, I'm so excited. Like I could feel it the whole damn time. I keep thinking, okay, so this is what the intuition says to me. So she says to me, go to New York. She's been saying that to me since I was 2 years old. Go to New York. From 2 to like 2022. Go to New York. All right, I'm in New York. I obeyed. And then she did a whole, he's the one. And I still can't figure that one out. Tell your story. And this is your voice, by the way. Tell your story. This is her next thing. Tell your story. She still says that one to me. Tell your story. One of these days, I'm just going to go online and all I'm going to do every day. All right, I'm going to tell you my story. All right, I'm going to tell you my story. All right, I'm going to tell you my story. And that's all I'm going to do is retell you my story. Maybe then she'll leave me alone. I'm supposed to be telling my story a very specific way, and I don't know how that is. The public speaking. That's what she just said to me. The public speaking. All right, I'll tell my story. The conversations I have with myself. All right, so And this is the other one. He's connected. He's connected. He's connected. And I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? He's connected. So she does this shit to me. He's connected. Talk to your partner. That's the other one. Talk to him. Oh, that's the other one that she constantly says to me. Talk to him. He's connected. And I'm going, okay, what is going? Oh, and then the other one is, what do you want? How do I make money? What do you want? How do I make money? Well, what do you want? So this is how we converse all day, every day. This is my life. Go to New York. He's the one. Tell your story. He's connected. Talk to him. What do you want? Oh, what do you want? How do you make money? What do you want? All right, so he's connected to this. This is the one that's been the whole, my partner is here and my business is here. And I can't figure out how they're connected. And what it is, because business is creativity and the partner is relativity. Relativity. So here's the thing. I know what relativity is because I've already pulled that apart. What I don't know is what creativity is. That's what I don't know. So we have identity, and we have relativity, and we have creativity. So I got to figure out what creativity is and why it's connected. What is creativity? Fascinating question, isn't it? See, I know what relativity is. Relativity is the other half of the identity with which we define ourselves. Okay, so if identity is one half of the coordinates and relativity is the second half of the coordinates, I want to say this is about coordinates. Now, I would say that creativity is self-purpose. Where are you going? That's the future. That's the heading. Oh, that's the heading. This is why it's a compass. I love shit like this. Okay, so here's how it works. This is a compass. You have north, south, east, west. This is a different compass. This is a different compass. Come on. Go bigger. That's another one of yours. Go bigger. Go bigger. She just said that one to me. Go bigger, Anna. Yes, 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 I know. Go bigger. Go bigger. All right, give me a second. Give me a second. Not a compass. Not a compass. Who are we? Universe, galaxy. Go bigger. Universe. Energy field. Energy field. Energy field. This is the compass to the energy field. Oh my God, I'm loving this. Okay, so here's what this is. The energy field has 3 positions to it. Who you are, who your relatives are, and where you are going, your creativity. There you are. When these 3 bits of information combine, you know your position on the energy field. That's it. That is what philosophy has been trying to ask the ultimate question of for like 8 million years. Is who are we? Where are we going? Oh, why are we here? That's the other one. Well, the why are we here would be your self-purpose. We're back to the creativity again. This is the compass. It was me finding a compass. Like this whole thing was just me looking for this fucking compass. This is it. All right. So you are who you are, but you is not enough. You need 2 other pieces of you to know who you are, where you're going, and what your purpose is in life. This is your energy field compass. There's you. But you don't know who you are until you have a relative point to relate to, hence relatives. In music theory, we call this the tonic, and then we call this the relative minor or the relative harmonic because we require the relativity of a note from point A to point B to know our actual position. This is how a sextant works at sea. At sea, you can't just have you. You need 2 locations. This is a huge misconception among common man is we think here you go, longitude and latitude. You need both because it's 2-dimensional. So every time you sit down and you figure out your coordinates, you're not figuring out your coordinates with just one. You require 2, and in some cases, 3. So on the energy field, you have three, which is you, your identity. You have your relatives. That is who you are in relation to what your relatives are. So your relatives, your mother and your father, and all your extended family, your clan, your kinsmen, tell you who you are based off of your relationship to them. We see this in physics. We see this in music theory. We see this in psychology. We see this in philosophy. We see this in family relations and in sociology. There are at least 5 massive topics that talk about this very topic that just keep overlapping. You must know who you are and who your relatives are in order to identify yourself. Now, in addition to that, you have your self-purpose, your creativity. This is your job. This is your career. This is where you want to go in life. This is your calling. This is your passion, your hobby. So it's these 3 points, a triad again. See this? You have these 3 points that tell you who you are and where you are going. You have you, your relatives, and your creativity. What are you creating? What job do you want to be? Where are you going? That is the ultimate question. So in philosophy, when we sit down and we look in philosophy and we are asking these ultimate questions, it comes back to this compass. It is the compass on the energy field, the purpose of life, your life compass. That's what this is. That is exactly what it is. So this is beautiful. If you don't know who you are, you're not going anywhere. If you are not authentic, you're not going anywhere. If you don't know who your relatives are, or worse, your relatives are toxic and abusive, you're not going to have any idea what right and wrong is. That is where your ethics come in. We get what is right and what is wrong specifically from our relatives. But if our relatives are giving us corrupt information, if they're abusive, that's really going to fuck with our definition of what's right and what's wrong. Now we're not going to have a proper compass working because we have our set of ethics of, hey, it's not right to hit animals. And yet here your parents are hitting animals. Well, that doesn't make sense. Now, does it? Hence the illogic of cognitive dissonance. You need new relatives. That is where a partner comes in. Now you have you and your partner to redefine and help you establish your ethics. If you chose your partner properly, you've chosen a partner who reflects your ethics and not the abuse of your parents. Unfortunately, most of us just repeat and put in the parental abuse. So we have someone to repeat the process. We need to be aware of this. That way, when we choose a proper, healthy partner, we are choosing a proper, healthy partner based off of our own ethics and morals of what is right and wrong. Now, what's your job? What do you want to do in life? Where do you want to go? Because that creativity is going to drive you through life. And you can't drive through life until and unless you know who you are in relationship to your ethics. That's the compass. I have peace in me. I needed to understand this. There you go. So this is all about a compass. And once you have defined what your compass is, life becomes so much easier. Oh my God, does life become easier? Holy shit, your life just got so much simpler because you have defined all of these points. This is what triadic healing does. It defines all this shit for you. There you go. Who are you? Who are you, by the way? Back to the cognitive core is what you love, what you desire, what you dream, what you wish, what you believe is right and wrong, what you value, what your ethics are, what you believe. And your beliefs are based off of these 2 things combined. Your beliefs are formed of your ethics and what you love, what you value and what you love. When you combine those things, you get beliefs. Beliefs are supposed to be unemotional. You are supposed to have almost no emotions in this setup. If you are emotional, there's trauma in there. If you are emotional, it's because somebody has put a toxic behavior inside of you. There's something going on. Emotions, this should not be emotional. This should be very unemotional and very logical, even the love part. That's how you know, oh, something's up here. There's emotions involved because that's trauma. Only trauma is emotional. Only trauma is emotional. If you are feeling heightened sense of emotion, it's because there's trauma involved. That is your red flag. When you feel emotions, anger, that's because you're under attack. That's actually a good thing because that means that it's working and you need to use a boundary. Boundaries, oh my God, boundaries are self-care. Boundaries are shields. Boundaries are the things, you're not supposed to have a boundary here like, oh, I've been abused, here's my boundary. No, you're supposed to have, this is my abuse zone. This is my pre-abuse zone. This is my boundary. so that a boundary is hit before they even get into your pre-abuse zone. This is so fucking important. Like people think boundaries are, oh, you've abused me. Here's a boundary. No, 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 no. You are supposed to have your abuse zone. You are supposed to have your pre-abuse zone and then your boundaries. All this space is for you. So that when somebody comes in, your shield prevents the abuse from even triggering you. So you've got this nice cushion. Now, this is going to give you some nice that cushion between trigger and the boundary. So this is how it works. They come at you and you say, no, that's a boundary. And they fight you on it. Now, if they push you on it and they push over, they're not spilling over to your abuse zone. They are only falling into your pre-abuse zone. So you can fight back without being triggered. You can still hold a clear sense of mind and a clear sense of logical understanding without them even tripping your confusion in your cognitive core, which will protect you. So you can push back. When you push back and then enforce, you've gotten rid of them. You're fine. And you've preserved, because you have that cushion of pre-abuse zone, it hasn't even touched your trigger yet. That's the point. Most people, when they hear triggers, first of all, most people don't have boundaries. They think, oh, well, there's no boundaries, because a lot of people, narcissists, basically hate boundaries. So they associate boundaries with limitations. They take away privacy. They take away boundaries. They associate boundaries with not having access. Well, don't you love me? We hear that a lot. Well, if you loved me, why are you doing this to me? All of that kind of gaslighting talk is anti-boundaries. So we grow up hearing all of that bullshit. And then we end up getting ourselves in a position where we have no boundaries because we think boundaries are bad. Boundaries are shields that prevent the narcissist from using you. They are the core. And the best part about boundaries is when you use a boundary, you get confidence, you get reinforcement, you feel safe. All the good, positive emotions that you're supposed to develop come from boundary setting. And when you start setting boundaries, oh my God, the power rush, the authority that starts to flow in, which gives you more confidence, which tells you, oh, these boundaries work, I'm going to use more. And the best part about boundaries is it's just words. So the biggest change that you're going to see when you start using boundaries is, holy shit, words work. Wow, words have power. Oh my God, words are really fucking powerful. And we don't think they are because we haven't been using them. When you start to use words for boundaries and you start to see people actually responding to your words, you start to realize just how powerful words are. Suddenly, you develop a really nice relationship with your throat chakra. You start to develop a really healthy relationship with your communication system. Suddenly, your value for the communication system goes way up. And as a result, your boundaries get better. As a result, your self-confidence gets better. And then you get bigger boundaries. You get more space. It's this beautiful, positive feed that just keeps giving you and reinforcing. And suddenly, and this is my favorite part, you get to that point where you realize even if someone tried to hurt you, they can't, because your boundaries are that fucking solid. So suddenly it's, wow, nothing can hurt me. You become immune to abuse. That is the gorgeous part with boundaries. It's just a shield. Absolutely just a shield. So, my God, it's absolutely beautiful. Boundary, 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 boundary. Could not say that enough. All right. I'm going to wrap this one up. Thank you so much. And if you love shit like this, like, subscribe, follow, comment below, let me know what part of the show resonated with you. Take a look at the cities directory. This is Authenticity City. Take a look at the directory. It's my Linktree account below. Thank you so much. And may the kindest of words always find you.